Howdy friends. So we have a Sullair refrigeration unit here. This is a, what is this thing? SRCV 2000. And this guy has been kind of whipping me as of late. Go into our stored alarms here, and power unit communication lost. You can see it's been happening every 2 to 3 months. We get a power unit communication loss. Been working with the support folks at Sullair, been working with the support folks at Beko, which is who made this dryer. And hey, focus. There we go. And we have replaced the communication cable between the main board and the display. We've done a software update and it just keeps coming back. So I am theorizing that somewhere in the train here, we either have an incoming power issue, which, you know, incoming power just goes doo-doo. And as you can see, the fault starts and ends immediately. So I don't know if we're getting like a quick power brownout to the entire dryer. I don't know if we're getting a quick power brownout to just the display, just the board, whatever. So I have a number of voltage monitoring relays that I'm going to install in here temporarily. We are going to wait for the unit to fail again and then see which of these relays has tripped. So I am going to power this guy down. Stand by. Nothing left but to throw a lock on and get to work. So I'll check back in once I got these in, and we'll see how it all looks. Working in the electrical cabinet. Lock does not go here. Lock goes there. Because when lock goes here, well, number one, you're not locking out anything because that's on the door. Number two, this remains energized, so you are still working in a hot cabinet. So make sure you put your disconnect in the right place. Well, friends, it's been a hell of a morning. Turns out I had scouted this wiring diagram for this dryer ahead of time and had an idea of what digital inputs, what circuits I was going to interrupt with these relays that would cause different faults in the controller that would tell me which relay had tripped. But as it turns out, the Sullair version of this manual has the wrong wiring diagram in it. And the component layout wasn't matching up. None of the wiring connections were matching up. I was like, this is really strange. So I went to the Beko website, downloaded the Beko version of this manual, and it was a lot more correct. Layout was spot on. All the wiring connections and everything that I found in the wiring diagram were all spot on. So I was able to identify some new circuits that I could interrupt. However, when I got back to the machine, I was like, oh, I have a wire here on this input that's not shown on the wiring diagram. So now I have to trace that wire out, figure out what it does, and figure out if it's going to be still safe for me to interrupt it or not. So this has turned into quite the project. I honestly don't mind. This was supposed to be a quick in and out job today. Like I said, I already had it all figured out, and then turns out I didn't. But yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. I like wiring. It's what I'm good at. So I'll get it figured out. But it was just interesting that the the OEM version of the manual has the correct wiring diagram. The Sullair version does not. So I will be notifying the Sullair service department of this error and see if they can get that corrected. But as it sits right now, had to come to the truck for my specialty driver set to remove a few things to see what this rogue wire is. So yeah, once I get it all figured out and operational, I'll let you guys know, and we'll go from there. All right, compressed air friends. So my trusty cabinet light died on me, but I think we'll be all right. It died right at the end of the project here, so I'm not going to grab another one. But so challenges overcome, got the right wiring diagram, got this thing figured out. And what we have here is down here, that bigger, fatter relay is monitoring my incoming 480, and the relay circuit on that goes up to right there and interrupts the high pressure switch. So what that's going to tell me is, next time this thing gets a communication fault, if it sets a high pressure switch alarm right along with it, that's telling me that my incoming power phase monitor is what tripped and I have an incoming power issue. Now the other thing we have right here, the skinnier relay, is a 24 volt voltage monitor. That is tied in right there, monitoring the voltage to the board. And the relay side of this ties in here with the compressor protection circuit. So again, next time this thing trips on a communication fault, if I have a compressor protection fault set right along with it, then that tells me that my power supply to the board is faltering, and I need to look at maybe a new power supply there, or maybe there's something in the 120 volt circuit to the power supply or something. But either way, I at least get a starting point. The one thing I really wanted to monitor but was unable to is right here on the display, this little 4-pin connector right here. 2 of those are your power, your plus and minus, and then 2 of those are your serial plus and minus. I really wanted to monitor this cable here, but that's 5 volts supplying power to that, and none of my power monitoring relays go that low. So we're going to have to make the grand assumption that if we do indeed get a communication fault and neither of those 2 relays trip with it, then we got to say it's either going to be in this board or in this display, and pick one and go with it, I guess, and see what happens. But so that's how all that's tied in. If you guys ever have to do any troubleshooting on one of these dryers, I just want to make you aware of this, because it's not completely obvious when you look at the wiring diagram. So your wiring diagram is going to show you, obviously, everything seen here, but it's going to give you a separate page for inverter 1, a separate page for inverter 2. Then it's going to give you a separate page for your zero loss drain interactions, which is all pretty self-explanatory. But then you're going to get another page where you've got driver 1 and driver 2. And those are not in here. For those, you have to go around the corner. Those are the drivers for your, but those are the drivers for the hot gas bypass valves, the DRV1, DRV2, and it is not shown on the wiring diagram, but your alarms for these, they're ran in series with each other, and they come back around. They tie into input 1 right there. Now the wiring diagram shows input 1 being blank. It is not blank, and they pull the common for that right there off your compressor overload feedback circuit. So something to be aware of if you ever need to troubleshoot these. Those two components are over there to the right. And one thing I found out is if you go messing around in this box, because I was poking around in here making sure I understood how all this worked. If you go poking around inside this box, those little black connectors back there, they will pop out. And then you get an expansion valve alarm. You can't figure out why you're getting an expansion valve alarm. It's because that thing popped out right there. You got to pop it back in. So, anyway, that's what I got. Hopefully this gives me some insights into why this thing's tripping, and we can solve this mystery. By the way, I know this looks horrible. This is all temporary wiring. And as I always say, make your temporary wiring obvious. Put your conduit covers back on. Make the temporary wiring obvious. So, and then this down here, this is actually there. So I just took a piece of DIN rail and I popped 2 of these out. These are the plugs at the bottom of the cabinet to plug off the extra wireways. And I just popped the zip tie down the hole and then back up the other hole over here. Just slide that guy over. Somebody's going to yell at me for being in this cabinet. That's okay. Then I just cut the head off another zip tie and shoved it on there to hold that DIN rail down.